Hello, folks who enjoy sunshine. This is Emily and Elt coming to you once again from our mother's basement. We dealt with the beeping from last time. It was a Neopet from like the 90s. My dog, still alive. He's so cute.
I can't believe it.
He's happy right now.
I have tried so hard to make sure that it was not alive anymore.
Can you believe that battery lasted though? All that time?
Ain't technology something?
I am very impressed.
Yay to the Neopet makers.
Anyway, so today we're actually talking about something a little bit different. Like we said we would. So far we've only talked about books, but we are finally getting to talk about one of my favorite things, Broadway! Yes, we're talking about a musical today. We are talking about the musical Waitress.
I don't know why I watched it, but we're going to get to that soon.
Yes.
And I warned Emily not to watch it. And she didn't listen.
Well,
as usual. Because she thought I was just being my regular pearl clutching self. And I was, but that doesn't mean that I was wrong.
She was right in everything she said. But as a lover of Broadway and theater, I just felt like I should see as much as possible. Because, like, I can't say that I know about things if I don't expose myself to it. And then I can form my own opinions.
Which is exactly what this is all about. Sharing information and then making your own opinions. Even though sometimes we try to save you from your own opinions.
That's why I read all of Twilight. Look, I couldn't make an opinion on Twilight. I couldn't be Team Edward, Team Jacob, or Team Get Me the Heck Away from Twilight until I read all of Twilight.
Well, yes, you could. Yes, the answer is get away from Twilight.
Oh, well, I know that now. Yeah. Another episode. Anyway.
Yeah, that's for another time.
So, Waitress. Our ratings overall, violence 3, language 4, and romance 4. And for those of you listening who are hip and up to date, you might know that Waitress was also a movie. We're going to primarily talk about the musical just because it's Broadway. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Broadway. And also, we've both seen it, so we have more to talk about. But the plot of the two is very similar. So the ratings in terms of violence, language, and romance translate for both the movie and the musical. It's just some of the specifics of the music and some of the theatricality. We'll talk mostly about the musical.
Before we even tell you what the musical is about, I just want you to know that don't bring your kids to Waitress.
No.
Don't. It's not for you. I saw so many young people, even teenagers there, and come on, guys. Come on, listen to what we have to say.
Yes.
Listen to us.
The poster is so bright and colorful, and all you see on the front is a woman with a pie. It would very much seem like a family-friendly thing.
And when you walk in, I don't know if they do this. I think you saw a tour version of it, and I saw the Broadway version of it. When you walk into the Broadway version, they sell like little pies in a cup, and it smells so good. If I was just walking by and smelled it, yeah, I would walk into that theater too.
Yeah, they do that everywhere. That's part of which I love when theater gets involved with the audience engagement and brings you into the world even before you've sat down and the curtain has opened.
It is a nice touch.
So I'm all about that, but yeah, not as kid-friendly as it would appear to be.
No, not at all.
So the basic plot line is we have Jenna, who's the protagonist, and she's married to Earl. And they live in the South because his name's Earl. Of course, they live in the South. They either live in the South or they live in England, and that's a title. Those are the
exactly.
Two options.
Yeah.
So they live in the South, and they're married, but he's abusive, more emotionally than physically, at least of what's shown. Just not giving her freedom and talking down to her, and
he takes her tip money or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So very.
He's not a good guy. We don't like him.
No, we do not like Earl. But and. Forgive me, all people named Earl, but there have been too many. Earl it's not a nice sound when it comes out of your, I don't know, it's just.
Earl sounds like Pearl, and we clutch pearls. Emily's clutching all the pearls now. All of them.
So, in the midst of this abusive relationship, Jenna works at a diner as a waitress, but also she bakes the pie. She's an incredible pie baker, comes up with wonderful recipes. So she has two friends there, and then the pie shop owner, who she's sort of on friendly terms with, and the
manager.
Oh yes, and then she becomes pregnant, and ends up in an affair with her OBGYN, but then that ends lines. And she enters a pie contest.
It really seems at one point that everybody is having an affair on the show.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of affairs going on.
Which is part of why it's so not appropriate for children.
Yeah. And all of the people who are having affairs are married. There are various states, like Jenna's husband is abusive, and one of the other women, I think one of her pie shop friends, is having an affair, and her husband is so old that he's
Is it
really
vegetable or what? Yeah, how do they? Yeah.
So it sort of makes one think that the affairs are okay-ish, but it's still a lot of affairs going on. And the doctor, I don't think, has any problems with his wife, and he's sleeping with Jenna. So
right,
lots of affairs. Anyway, so that's why the romance is at 4.
Also, because some of what they show, this would be the romance would actually be like a 7 if we even went that high in the ratings, because there's this one scene like when the affairs first start, and she brings the doctor a pie. Then they do all these things with the way they toss the pie and put in different parts of her body. Then the doctor like leans in to eat the pie, but it's not just. It's really, that's not what's going on, even though that is what's going on, but it's really not what's going on.
It's sort of a clever way of doing it without, because there are certainly shows where characters take off their clothes and can get very intimate. It actually happens in one of my favorite, maybe we'll talk about it. Though that happens in Darkness. So there are plays where that will happen on stage. So kind of, that they're trying to cover it up, but it's still, if you're bringing a young kid or
no
teenager,
children,
they're
don't,
going to ask what's going on. So
just
probably
don't.
Not for
and
you.
Everyone's laughing when it's happening because it's just so hilarious, I guess, to see an affair happening. I don't even know. It's so I did not know what I was doing in that show.
Also, why would you defile pie in such a way? And the pie she talks about usually sound pretty good.
Yeah, and apparently she's really good baker. So
yeah.
Why are you messing around with pies like that? I don't know.
So that's,
I guess some people are into those sort of things. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't need to get too into that. I suppose.
Now we're gonna move away before this episode has too many pearl clutchings in it.
But that's the basic summary plotline. Oh, and her baby is eventually born, and she ends up with her own. We're gonna do a lot of spoiler alerts, so just be aware for that. But she ends up with her own pie shop and her daughter, and it's all blue skies at the end. I mean, it is a Broadway musical after all, so unless it's Rent, it's going to be all blue skies at the end.
Which is actually an interesting thing that you mentioned, that she ends up with the daughter afterwards. Because that's something that you brought up, that abortion is sort of mentioned and she doesn't take it.
Yeah, when she first finds out that she's pregnant, which she doesn't want to be because her husband is awful, and she knows that she's really trying to leave her husband. She's hiding cash away from him, but she knows that once she has a baby with him, he will have more reason to
more control and power over her, yeah.
So it would make sense if someone's saying, oh, you don't need to keep this baby for her, given her circumstance, to say, oh, you're right. But she doesn't. She keeps it. And it's not even actually made a huge issue of. It's not about women's empowerment in terms of abortion. It's, you have this option. She says, no, I'm keeping the baby because the baby isn't the issue. Her husband's the issue.
Right.
So I do like, and I was worried that the movie's from 2007. The musical is from 2016. I was worried that because the musical is updated, they might change that. But they didn't. And it's nicer because then she has her daughter and her new life. She's not just starting off her new life all on her own.
And before you correct us, yes, we know the musical was floating around before 2016, but it went to Broadway 2016.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yes.
So see how nicely we corrected ourselves?
Accuracy.
Accuracy is everything.
Always accuracy.
It's actually interesting also. Like, this show was nominated for a lot of Tony Awards. Well, it was nominated for 4 Tonys for Best Musical, Best Original Score, Best Performance by a Leading Actress in a Musical, Best Performance by a Featured Actor in a Musical, which is Christopher Fitzgerald, who has one song that is absolutely hilarious. It really... So you have to give credit where credit's due. Just because nobody should watch the show doesn't mean there aren't funny moments in it.
Oh, yes.
They did win. It won a Drama Desk Award for Christopher Fitzgerald. Won the Drama Desk Award for that same nomination, Outstanding Featured Actor in a Musical. But it didn't win any Tonys. It was up against Hamilton. So, yeah, no one's winning against Hamilton. Just be honest.
His character, though, on the tour also, he got the loudest applause during the curtain call. And people were in stitches when he did his song. It was so funny.
That song is really funny.
I couldn't hum any of it now.
Yeah, I can't tell you what it is.
Which was the biggest issue with the musical. I don't need every song to be amazing, but I should walk out of there humming a song.
Yeah. There's a few musicals I can think of off the top of my head like that, but we'll save those for other episodes. Which is actually interesting because you said, I know they did this at the Broadway show, and you mentioned that they did do this as well at the on the tour that at the end of the show they kind of do like a karaoke with the cast, and some people they'll just pick names out of a hat if you've signed up for it, and you could choose which song, and the band will kind of play part of that song for you, and you could sing it. And there were people getting up there singing the music.
Yeah.
And I have not looking at the sheets, like they were singing the music. I have no idea how they did that. I guess they're super fans of this musical.
That's pretty much what it
I
is.
know it's funny, but really? Really, guys? Come on.
I mean, even compared against Hamilton, let's take Hamilton out of the Tony running for that year. I'd still, Bright Star, I think, is more original. I just
different because it's all country. Yeah, there's not a lot like Bright Star. Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, it's a cute fun. I went with my girlfriend to Waitress, and it was a type, like, I would go with my parents to a lot of theater. I don't think my parents to Waitress. I wouldn't take my husband to Waitress, but with a girlfriend, it was fun.
As in a friend that's a girl, not like a girlfriend.
Oh, yes, just
because we live in these times, and people are here.
I got my husband, I'm coming off on the side,
No, she does, yeah, no. I know, is there anything else? Oh, I think, so there was an interesting point that they were trying to show with the affair, that they were just trying to show her having, I want to call it a healthy relationship because the affair is not healthy, but they were trying to show her, I guess, with a guy who actually was respectful to her, which obviously helps her get away from her husband to see that there's other things out there. But I wonder what the show could have been or would have been if they actually would have shown this attraction without following through on it, which is very much not the way modern film, story, musical works, because as soon as someone feels something for someone, they actually have to go all the way.
That's a really good
which
point.
Is actually something, we'll probably bring it up. Shane, just put Shane in the back of your minds. It's probably going to come up, Shane. But another one, which I don't know why I watched this series. Watched Godless on Netflix. It was so not my style. But there's a part, it's like a town where all the guys have died in the mine accident. So the women are basically running the place, and this one guy shows up, and he ends up at somebody's barn. He's just passing through, and then he has his feelings for the woman at the house, and she's got this other guy who's kind of pursuing her, but he's off on some, where he's hunting somebody down, off on some posse somewhere. And then at one point they do end up sleeping together, and then in the last episode, the barn guy leaves, and the guy who was pursuing the woman in the house, after following this, he kind of makes this comment of like, oh, I'm going to have a problem with you, da-da-da, and he was like, oh, she was never my woman, and leaves. And it's like, so she was never your woman, why did you sleep with her? Just because you guys have feelings? No, it doesn't.
You don't follow through on every feeling that you have.
Yeah, it doesn't work like
Hopefully.
that. Yeah, or else there'd be a lot more murders probably.
Yeah, at least rear-ended cars from angry drivers.
Definitely, there'd be a lot more run-over pedestrians and cyclists. A lot more people would be having affairs with people. That's strength of character is not sleeping with whoever you want. Strength of character is being faithful to your person. So I just wondered, I think they could have done it, just shown them how much they wanted to be together and that they didn't cross certain lines.
And she could still learn the same, I deserve to be treated.
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think she could have. Maybe the music wouldn't have been as funny, but I think that's the challenge.
Yeah.
These writers are talented people, so challenge yourselves.
Yeah.
Don't just go through with this.
Yeah. So I will say though, I guess we're not really on the fence about Waitress. We have strong feelings on it. But the movie, I thought the movie was cute. And if you had to pick to see one of them, I would recommend the movie.
But only if you really had to pick to see one of them.
Yeah.
I didn't see the movie, and I'm just going to say that. Yeah. I think I've had my fill of Waitress.
Oh, that was pretty good.
That was a pun, a little bit.
That was really good. Wow. All right.
I just gave myself a cymbal clashing sound. We're going to have to get cymbals down here. You think Mom will get us cymbals?
Ooh. Okay, we're going to sign off because I'm going to look into how much cymbals cost and what the noise ordinances are in our neighborhood. And maybe figure out some soundproofing for the basement. So we're going to sign off. That was Waitress. And we'll see you cool cats next time.
Cool cats. Yeah.